three things we're going to talk about today are making your own pouches for your kids, kindergarten homeschool curriculum, and lots what. So we've done this for all three of our kids now. Our baby has just started eating more solids, and so I started making pouches for him, but I did it for our other two kids. Here's my puppy. Infantino makes a DIY pouch set kit. So the other day we had ground chicken, so I just threw ground chicken, applesauce, and some chicken broth in our blender. Blended up really good because the thing is you don't want little bits of ground chicken clogging up the works here. And actually that was the biggest hit, was the ground chicken and applesauce. This one is chicken and potato. We haven't tried this one yet. And he actually did like ground beef with mashed potatoes. It was super pasty. You want to put a little more water than you would think, because think of the pouches you get from the store. They're really actually very runny. And so they feel like they're too runny when putting them in. But it's been awesome because they're eating what we're eating. Cruz is just more of the puree kind of kid. Like the other kids got teeth in a lot sooner too. So I think that's maybe why they did better with the actual solids, just little tiny pieces of solids. But Cruiser's just kind of more of a puree kid. And so he likes these a lot. And it's awesome. I'm sure we save money in the long run. Like you have to buy the extra pouches and the lids and stuff and the startup kit, the equipment. But it's a really simple system to use and it's awesome. And then I know exactly what's going in. There's no preservatives. There's no extra sugars or extra juices that he doesn't need. So these have been super, super awesome. 10 out of 10 recommend. And then I want to talk about kindergarten homeschool curriculum. So we actually made some new friends the other night. They invited us as strangers over to their house for dinner, but we knew we had a lot in common. They're providers in the area. Her daughter is a little bit younger than our son. And so she was asking about kindergarten curriculum because they're thinking about maybe doing homeschool and their daughter would be doing kindergarten soon. And that's what my son is doing. We are kindergarten homeschooling for the very first time. And so she was asking about curriculum and I said, well, you just don't have one. We started out, I chat GPT'd and I was like, this is where he's at. This is where I want to be. These are the different areas that I want to evaluate him in the beginning. And basically I said, I want to get him to essentially first grade level by the end of this year, which he would be at the end of kindergarten year, but he's kind of an old kindergartner. I mean, he's 6 right now. He'll be 7 going into first grade. So he's older. And he's always taken to the academic side. Like since he was very small, I know everybody thinks their kid is a genius. And of course I think mine is. But he has always been super into numbers and super into letters. That was his thing. He likes the order of them, I think. Like he likes that they're very predictable and he can understand the order. So that probably, played in my favor a lot. But anyway, and so we went into this year, him being able to read, no problem. And really understanding numbers and basic math. So that did help out a lot. That's not going to be every kindergarten situation. They are going to have strengths in other areas. But anyway, so what we've done, I want to get into essentially where a first grader, a standard, in the Kansas school system would be, which also benchmarks are just kind of arbitrary. So I started out doing that and then I quickly even abandoned that. I'm not super organized. Let me follow a super strict schedule or kind of thing. I just got back to what I read in homeschool blogs and things anyway, is just do some math, do some reading, do some writing. If you want to do some science sometimes, whatever, and then just let them live life with you and they're going to learn a ton. And that's what we've been doing. So we read. We don't do school every day, first of all, but the days that we do school, we read, and I try to get him to read some out loud to me too. The fall semester, I set a goal for him to do 100 books, read 100 books by Christmas, and he knocked it out of the park. Actually, I set him 50, and then once he hit 50, he said, I want to do 100. So we said, okay. Anyway, so I try to get him to read, but on the days he's like, no, I don't want to read. I read to him because he's a kindergartner. He's 6, so I can read to him, and he's still going to get a lot out of that. So we do that. We do writing. So I just got one of these line journals, these old school kind of things, and I'll just write a journal prompt. And, he does not like writing. That's kind of where he's at the lowest level. I think his hand just isn't strong enough yet. But so he'll find any answer he can think of to do 1 or 2 words instead of a full sentence, which is fine. We'll get there. So I'll just do, what's your favorite thing to do with sis? Or what's your favorite food? And so he gets a little bit of handwriting practice, and then he gets handwriting practice when we do math. So I don't use this every day. Sometimes I will literally write out math problems on a piece of printer paper and have him do it. We did it with chalk outside the other day. But this one's nice because I know we're getting more of a variety. And this is a nice series of books, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot of other great ones too. But this one's nice because I can just say, I don't want to think about it at all. I just open it up, which I'm sure is the beauty of curriculum, and go through one of the sections. And a lot of them he can figure out on his own. If he doesn't, I'm always sitting there with him, and then we just walk through it. So that's what I do for kindergarten curriculum. I'm very new, so I don't feel like I'm the authority on homeschool, but especially with kindergarten, it does not need to cost a lot of money. It does not need to be fancy, and it does not need to be super regimented, because kids this age need to be moving and playing for the most part. They need to be outside. We always count outside time as school time. I've been tracking it because I read Jenny Urich's book, and she's the founder of the 1,000 Hours Outside movement. And so I've just, for my own sake, I've been tracking our time outside this year, and I want to see, I don't think we'll get to 1,000 hours. That's a lot of hours, but I want to see how close we can get. I think that's a fun goal. And any time outside, I feel like, is the best for our kids. So that's, of course, going to be counted towards our school. And then we bake, he bakes banana bread with me, and he goes to the store and goes to the bank. And so when we go to the bank, we don't just go to the bank. We talk about, this is what a bank is. This is why mommy and daddy work, so we can have money to put in the bank, and then we can pay our bills. And so we talk about that, because you learn so much just from life. And that is the beauty, of course, of homeschooling, is kids get to learn life from you, doing life with you. So it's been awesome so far. But anyway, I am such a huge proponent of, if you're the person that needs curriculum, do it. Go for it. I'm just not. And I knew I wasn't going to be from the beginning. And I'm sure as they get older, we'll follow something a little more structured, just so I make sure I'm checking all the my boxes and making sure that they're getting the basics of what they need. But for now, kindergarten, if you're on the fence or you're worried about it, no way. Just, you can write out enough of a worksheet, or you can print from so many free resources online. So I do not think it's necessary to pay money for a curriculum that you don't even know if you're going to like until you're a couple of weeks or months in. So that's kindergarten homeschool curriculum. And then so talking about Lot's wife. So I started I'm in a Bible study. I went yesterday, and it's a guided one, and it's called Don't Look Back. I'm pretty sure is what the book is called and the workbook is called. And they were talking about Lot's wife. And in Luke 17, Jesus says, there's going to be a time when the man on the roof is not going to be able to go back inside and get his stuff, or the man in the field is not going to be able to go home and pack up. He needs to be ready to go. Don't look back. Remember Lot's wife. And so the accompanying video is talking about what that even meant. Like, Lot's wife, they're running from Sodom and Gomorrah, and these two men who are angels were taking them, get out of here. Don't look back. Go, flee. You're safe. We're going to protect you, but you got to get out of here. Don't look back. And she did. She looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. And so my initial gut knee-jerk center reaction was, not fair. She just looked back to see what was happening. But I'm sure it was, God knew her heart posture. And they talked about that in the Bible study. They said, she looked back longingly, and she looked back at what she was leaving behind and all the things that she was going to miss, because Lot and his wife really lived a cush life. And so we were reading in the Bible, and so this is Jesus' sermon. He said, these guys aren't going to be able to go back and get their stuff. Don't look back. Remember Lot's wife. And then he says, it's pretty famous. Whoever tries to save their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will preserve it. And I don't know how I missed this, at what point I missed this, and what point I kind of checked out in every sermon I've ever heard about this. I grew up in church, so that's 38 years of sermons and church and Bible studies and Sunday schools. But I guess in my mind, I've always been kind of trying to piece out how whoever tries to save their life will lose it. And I just could not figure that out until, it's not save their life, breath in your lungs life will lose it, die. It's whoever tries to save their life that they're leaving behind in Sodom and Gomorrah, that's burning up, that's their beautiful house and their friends and the parties they went to And, their life that they were living, whoever tries to save that life will lose it. And then whoever loses their life, all the things that they think make them happy, that bring them joy, that bring them purpose, whoever loses their life will preserve it. It's not the life and the life as in the breath in their lungs. It's the life that they're living. Oh my gosh. I know I can't be the only person that didn't realize that, but I'm sure most people got it. And I somehow missed that boat. So I just thought that was so funny that whatever, I guess I got it now. Whoever tries to save their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will preserve it. And so I guess whatever. But, of course, the point is, don't look back. Jesus has redeemed us from whatever is behind us. He's got a plan for us forward. He saved us already. He has a place for us, so we don't need to look back at all the things that we think we're going to miss because, yeah, maybe that life was fun and maybe that was a safe, cush life. But what's ahead of us, even though we don't know what it is, it's unknown, what Jesus has ahead of us in life, it's going to be better. And if nothing else, heaven's going to be way better. So we don't need to look back because that's nothing compared to what we're going towards. So, whoops. But now I know.